Now, insecurity remains the biggest setback in the country today, and just like kidnapping and insurgency, banditry in Nigeria's north is one of the many security challenges the country battles to contain. The police in Zamfara state recently recovered a rocket launcher and 14 motorcycles belonging to bandits terrorizing communities bordering Katsina state. The motorcycles were recovered when the bandits, numbering about 100, blocked the Safe-Futua road along Gidengaye village with intent to rob and kidnap innocent commuters. Briefing newsmen at the police headquarters in Gusau, Zamfara State, the State Commissioner Abutu Yaru says personnel of the command engaged the criminals in gun battle, and many of the bandits fled with gunshot wounds and abandoned 14 of their motorcycles. This feat is part of efforts to restore peace across the state. Now, joining me in the studio is security consultant Darlington Umoru. Good morning. Thank you for joining us on TVC Breakfast.
Good morning. Good to be here once again. We can never be tired talking security.
Absolutely, because it is one of the major issues we are faced with as a country. Let's begin from this record that we have pointed out. The police in Zamfara state recovering a rocket launcher, 14 motorcycles belonging to bandits terrorizing the community. I mean, rocket launchers being used by bandits. You look at the kind of weapons that was recovered. How concerning is it for you when you keep reading? Just this morning we saw about 23 persons killed, I think in Kaduna. We just see these issues, their activities across, especially northwest states.
Rocket launchers and other weapons recovered from criminals by the police is the effect of the amount of proliferation of small arms and light weapons we're suffering from at the moment. It's telling you how sophisticated the criminals are getting. Of course, they know about the use of security gadgets by security agents and the military to track their activities and track them also. And one of those things you could use to fight such machinery like the fighter helicopters and the unmanned aerial vehicles, talking about drones and all of that. The only way you could tackle all of that is to use the aerial launcher. And for goodness sake, it's becoming a thing of worry.
Right.
And should must continue as a thing of worry for others. Just on Monday, the Daudawa-led group of the bandits in Zamfara state, with his group, gave in and returned all the weapons in their possession, and even took an oath with the Quran.
Yes.
Saying that they will be out of those activities and will also help the government in fighting banditry in Zamfara and perhaps in some of the states. But even so, what this tells you, what the police, the milestone the police just got to now by taking on some of these criminals and recovering these weapons is a big one, and it demands kudos from everybody. We should try as much as possible to do whatever is possible to continue to encourage the security agents that we have that are fighting these persons.
All right.
The Zamfara state government is doing everything humanly possible, even though criticized in some other quarters, to ensuring that the activities of banditry and Boko Haram insurgency and all of it is reduced.
As much as possible.
As much as possible.
And that brings me to the issue raised by the Kaduna State Governor in person of Nasir El-Rufai, where he said that bandits shouldn't be compensated in terms of monies being given, having conversation with them like we saw Sheikh Gumi did, which he criticized as well. And you see diverse reaction coming from some of the Northwest governors. And Nasir El-Rufai says the governors of the Northwest are working at cross purposes. That is why the issue of kidnapping keeps festering.
I don't understand. I really do not understand why El-Rufai will want to go solo in most
go solo?
Yes, go solo. I say go solo because most of the Northwest governors where banditry ravages are doing everything. They are coming together to discuss this issue on how to, if not completely bring it to an end, at least minimize the activities of bandits. They are killing people every day. And Kaduna has been one of the worst hit.
Right.
Kaduna has been one of the worst hit.
We just saw 23 persons killed.
There's hardly a day where blood is not shed in Kaduna State. There's hardly a day. And this is arrogated to bandits. And what do? Even when we had the World War, they still got onto the round table to discuss on how to stop it.
But we've been seeing conversations with these people.
It never comes to an end, as much as the war still ravages. It can never. Do you give up? This governor is sitting in the comfort zone of his government house, for goodness sake. He has all the military security paraphernalia around him. What about the common man? What about the common man that is slaughtered on a daily basis?
But you will recall there was a time he had a conversation with these people. And
how sincere was this conversation, please?
No, I wasn't there.
How sincere was this conversation? What was the effect? What was the result? What came out of that conversation?
We still saw killings going on.
Have you seen what is happening in Zamfara? Where basically you want to say that bandits originated from as a result of what was going on in the gold mine?
Right.
Please, I don't want to be worked up this morning. What are we talking about? We're talking about lives. We're talking about human lives. One man is seated there. He has all the security paraphernalia that protects him and his family and his people. We're talking about the common man. Common men like Chief Darlington on the street. How much protection do we get? Do you know how many policemen are there for him to protect him? How many are the remaining ones out of the 375,000 total number of the Nigerian police force that we have at the moment? Many of them are serving as what? They are guarding these private people, the governors and all of them. And then the same man will come out, not think of what will affect the common man on the street. He's telling us that negotiating and discussing with the bandits is out of it, while the other Northwestern governors are coming together to find a solution to the common problem. It's a common problem ravaging the Southwest, the Northwest, which has now spread down to the South.
Right.
We have bandits all over now in the forest in the South, where you have forest. And people are being killed, are being kidnapped. What is the trade by these bandits?
So you feel the insincerity in the conversation that he had initially, talking about Nasir El-Rufai now, that he had is what happened, did not yield the desired results. And so perhaps this time around, the conversation we are seeing with Sheikh Gumi and every other person, which a lot of Nigerians have also criticized, might yield the results because we are still seeing these killings going on.
Might yield the results. Then I want you to take a cue from what is happening in Zamfara State at the moment. If a group led by Daudawa, I just gave you that now, on Monday, they submitted the small arms in their possession. What happened when we had people protesting in other regions, like we had in the Niger Delta? What brought it to an end? Where the economy of this country was almost brought to an abrupt end. What happened? Yar'Adua called them to discuss with their leaders. Having discussed with their leaders at the end of the day, what happened? He gave them amnesty. Today, what happened? Did they not submit the firearms in their possession? How many pipelines are being blown up again now in the Niger Delta? Those are the people that are supposed to be more aggrieved than anybody in this country. Because they don't have farmland. The water from which they earn their daily resources is destroyed. It's destroyed. It's polluted. All the international oil companies that harvest what God gave to that part of this country, how much do they put in their bag in return? Instead, the people cannot farm. The people cannot fish. They live in abject poverty now. But even so, a certain president came and said, no, this is not the way to go. We understand your protest. You are freedom fighters. But what do? They sat down and negotiated. They agreed. He negotiated with the leaders of that region.
Freedom fighters.
Yes.
But we do not understand what these ones are fighting for.
These ones are criminals. So if you have criminals that you cannot overwhelm, what do? Even if you could overwhelm them, look for their leaders and talk with them. You and I were here when we discussed the issue of the Kankara boys.
Right.
Who were those who negotiated the release of those Kankara boys? The governor of Zamfara State used ex-bandits, we were told. to negotiate with those who kidnapped the boy. Did you not get all of them in full? Did they not go back to their parents? Did they not return joy to the homes of where they came out from? Do you know what it means to send your child to school? In boarding house, federal government school. At the end of the day, the boy you are told is taken away by criminals. Haven't been taken away by criminals at the end of the day. You got your son back. You know how much joy that will bring to you?
But for some experts, this they believe is emboldening these criminals, like you call them.
There's always two ways to a coin.
Right.
Two sides of a coin. What is most important now is for us to try and see what we can do to minimize or reduce the killings. They are too much. It's too many. It's too many now. Do you know now that the bandits we're talking about, even the head that suffer in the hands of the bandits? Do you know that even the farmers suffer in the hands of the bandits? How? You want to know? You might want to know. Now, the bandits, they are cattle rustlers. Who suffers it? The headers. And you have to kill the headers to take their cattle away. The farmers now cannot go to farm. From understanding, farmers in certain states along that line, the northwest now, they pay taxes to bandits so that they could go to farm freely, plant their crops, and then go there again to harvest. You remember how many farmers were killed by Boko Haram recently?
Over 70.
And who was happy about it?
No.
Was it the world? Now you have farmers who are reaching out to this person, who are paying what looks like taxes or levy, if you want to call it out, take it that way, so that they could go in peace to farm. What do we have today? Kidnapping is rampant. Cattle rustling is rampant. Farmers are being killed. So the food basket of this nation is threatened. And if food security is threatened, it means that the common man is also threatened. We're talking about poverty. We don't import gari. We do not import beans. Have you ever, even the local rice we are planting here, we don't import them. But they compete with the ones we import, where you pay import duties for and all of that. Why? Because you don't have enough farmers who want to take the risk to go to farm because there's no security for them. The Zamfara state governor has taken the bull by the horns and is having relative peace. The Sokoto governor the other day also did the same thing. You had the whole of the Kankara boys that were taken away by these same persons returned because they were negotiated with. I do not care what the negotiation took, but what is important to me is the life that you and I cannot create.
But can we continue like this? For how long can we continue like this?
Is it better for us to remain silent and allow everybody to be killed until the thing gets to our homes?
Carrot and stick approach. Some persons want us to, since we know where these people are and who they are, perhaps we should begin to see some arrests being made.
My dear sister.
Right.
I didn't want to get worked up this morning.
I didn't intend to do so too.
We must continue to tell ourselves the truth. One problem we have in this country is the fact that we refuse to tell ourselves the truth. We see the truth and shy away and begin to quote what is not necessary at that point in time. There's a parable in my language.
Interpret, please.
I do not, unfortunately, my language, if you tend to interpret or describe what you say in it, it may give you a different meaning.
Right. But there is a crux of a message.
Yes, the crux of the message I'll give to you free of charge is that
all right.
There's this bush cat that comes to the house to take chicks. Eats them. So when you have the hen, the mother of the chicks now and that cat at loggerheads, you drive the cat away first. And then discuss with the hen. And then later you call the cat, say, come boy, take it easy now. You are eating this woman's children, and you expect her to keep quiet? What are we talking about? Is this the time we begin to quote logics? Is that what we need now across the country? Some persons are taking it upon themselves now. Iboho has taken it upon himself to protect his people. Today now we heard that his account has been frozen.
Right.
Because he demanded that some persons should raise money for him to buy buses to be able to move his people around to support security. My dear, is it not getting out of hand? Where individuals are taking it upon themselves to want to protect themselves or protect their people. Is it not getting out of hands? When on daily basis, what you heard again this morning from Kaduna State, about 23 persons have been killed. How do you feel every day when you wake up, you come to the studio, you are discussing terrorism? There's no day where you don't see a gruesome video how people are being killed by terrorists and bandits.
Constitutionally, the primary purpose of governance is the protection of lives and property. Now the president has given marching orders to security chiefs to quash and insecurity, insurgency, and all of that in the country. How do we perhaps build on what you are saying the governors are doing, some of the Northwest governors are doing, to ensure we see an end, if possible, to all of this crisis?
Wonderful thing Mr. President has done. Wonderful thing, wonderful statement he has made. How many times has he made these statements? Mr. President himself is coming from the security circle. Don't forget, he's a soldier, he's a general who fought war, civil war in this country.
Absolutely, yeah.
Don't also forget that the first day he came, his body language said a lot of things, and he moved the headquarters of Situation Room to Borno, Northeast.
Yeah.
How much result have we gotten from that? Vis-a-vis what happened in the era of Yaradua and the Niger Deltans. The civil war that was fought, how did it end? On the round table negotiating table. Yes, the security people must sit. Is it the same security men that have been overstretched? The same Nigerian army that is overstretched? We discussed it here about 2 days ago. Are you going to bring security men from outside the country to come and complement the efforts of us, what we have here? For goodness sake, as much as that is done, that's exactly what Mr. President is directing is part of what the police did in Zamfara that you reported. They recovered even a rocket launcher, in addition to other weapons. But you must complement all of that. You must complement the efforts of the security agents. You must also complement the efforts of the military. How do you complement all of that? If it means that you have to discuss with some of them and they are willing to repent genuinely and give up what is in their possessions.
Who determines genuinely? Who determines? We have had repentant over time.
Even America will tell you that they don't negotiate with terrorists. I give you the instance of Sergeant Bo, just one man, whom the Taliban held hostage. America requested for Sergeant Bo, and when they negotiated, 5 Taliban, deadly Taliban leaders, were released just because of Sergeant Bo. In exchange, my dear sister, what are we talking about? We are talking about lives. You can take these people headlong while you negotiate. When the Kankara boys were taken away, why were we not able to recover the Chibok girls in bulk? This is not the first time. We also had the issue of one of the schools where the children were taken away, where Mama Boko also negotiated with the bandits, and then the children were all released, except from Leah Sharibu.
Yes.
Because she said she cannot give up her faith. You know how much pains the parents of Leah Sharibu are still suffering up until this day as I speak with you? For goodness sake, yes, Mr. President has said what he's supposed to say. He's supposed to encourage the security agents. He's supposed to encourage the military. He's supposed to give them the riot act. Even in the state of Mr. President, Katsina was where those Kankara boys were taken from. The same day Mr. President visited that place.
It was when they struck.
What are we talking about, for goodness sake? The governors who are in those states are the chief security officers of their states, and they are suffering most of those things the most. Mr. President, yes, is doing his best, and we have seen some results. But how good are those results? Have they been able to stop the daily killings by bandits and these terrorists? The question, I don't know if you have an answer to it.
I don't.
Are you sure you don't?
I don't.
Well, for me, I don't think I have an answer to that. But for goodness sake, please, I must make this appeal.
Right.
There are people who must come to complement the efforts of government. And the effort of government is to take on these persons and get them arrested where possible. You also have the traditional rulers who need to play their roles. You also have the governors who need to play their roles. You also have religious leaders who need to play their roles. We also need vigilantes to form the civil, what do you call them now? A team to complement the efforts of this, because you also need, beyond the security people,
All right.
you also need people who know the terrain in those forests to assist in getting to where these bandits are staying.
Right.
Because they don't live in houses with you and I, they go to stay in the forest, for goodness sake.
Very, very, very important point there, security consultant Darlington Umoru. A very fine place to leave this conversation. Thank you for your time on the program.
Thank you, because I'm worried. I don't know how much worried you are, how much worried you are. I am very, very worried. And
We all
Mr.
are.
President is doing whatever he's doing, but even so, these people should be embraced.
All right.
Bring them together to a round table, discuss with them, what do you want? They've told us some of the things they want.
We have to
And
leave the
then
conversation.
Let them stop the killing.
All right. Thank you so much for your time.